Hey guys, have you heard about a assignment that Madam just had uploaded to Edmodo? It's about recycling paper is an effective way to fight climate change. First and foremost, I want to explain about recycling paper. Recycling paper means by paper that was made from paper and paper product that has already been used and recovered. The waste paper undergoes a process in which it is made into newspaper product. Paper that can be legally recycled paper has to include materials that have been recovered after the initial manufacturing process. So, how about you?
For my opinion, global climate change may have significant environment and economic consequence for the United States and for the other nations. For every ton of recovered paper that is converted into new cycle paperboard for packaging and uses 3.6 million metric tons of carbon dioxide emissions are eliminated. Recycling paper can reduce emissions for the greenhouse effect that cause global warming in three important ways. Okay, for the first, paper cycling prevents methane emissions from landfills. First, when paper is not recycled, 80-100% of it ends up in landfills. Decomposition of the paper in the landfills produce methane, a greenhouse gas with 21 times the heat trapping power of carbon dioxide. United States EPA has identified landfills as the single largest sources of methane emission in the United States, and the decomposition of paper is the largest contributor to the methane being generated. If paper is recycled, it doesn't end up in the waste stream headed for a landfill where it will degrade and generate methane. Simply put, the less paper landfill, the less methane emitted. How about you, Vivi?
Well, I do agree with the statement recycling paper is an effective way to fight climate change. Well, in my opinion regarding the statement, recycled paper will bring environmental benefits where the combination of recycling plus recycled content will lead into sustainability. As we already know in common that recycling paper into products like 100% recycled paper creates significant environmental and economic benefit for our nations. The rigorous scientific has demonstrated that manufacturing paper with recycle is good for the environment as it requires less energy than producing paper from trees. Besides, this way also prevent it from being landfill where it degrades, producing methane and greenhouse gas like what Zana has shared before, and manufacturing with recovered paperboard cuts down on air pollution such as nitrogen oxide that contribute to smoke and particulate emissions. And what about you, Atul?
I am strictly agree with the statement that is recycling is an effective way to fight climate change. My points why I agree with that statement. I will say that trees from naturally growing forests are important to the climate. So if we recycling paper use, these forests will not be cut down and they continuously manage carbon dioxide levels. These trees also have spread their roots and in doing so can provide managing of carbon dioxide. As well, this root system helps prevent erosion and these forests generally have more biodiversity. How about you, Era?
I strongly agree with both of you, Fifi and Atul. There will always be many environmental benefits of recycling regardless of the time we live in, especially in a world like today where natural resources, for example, fuels, material and energy are being used up. We can help our environment by recycling paper and keeps landfill space free for other type of trash that can be recycled. Hence, when we reduce and reuse instead of buying new paper and we recycle instead of using back the recycled paper, we can reduce the pollution. In other words, we can help reduce reforestation. The more we buy and the more we throw away, the more waste we create. So, how about you, Zana?
Okay, I want to add my point. In my opinion, Paper recycling leaves more trees standing so they can absorb more carbon dioxide. Okay, 100% recycled paper requires no tree to produce. Tree left standing pull carbon out of the air, a process called carbon sequestration, which is one to reduce the impact of industrial carbon dioxide emissions. The other point that can I add, paper recycling requires less energy. Manufacturing new paper out of recycled paper requires less energy than making paper out of wood. Production of 100% recycled paperboard uses 50% less energy compared to the virgin grades of paperboard. Thus, in the greenhouse gases released into the atmosphere. Anyone, you want to add some point?
May I add my point? Recycling use energy. Overall, it reduces climate emissions as recycling a material generally used for less energy than manufacturing from virgin materials. Do you all know what is virgin materials?
Yeah.
Yes.
Virgin materials is resource extracted from nature in their raw form, such as timber or metal ore. And for example, if you recycle waste paper, you save 3 times as much energy as it produced by burning it to produce energy. Recycling plastic saves 5 times the energy created by burning it. Thus, it can reduce greenhouse effect, as Zana said before. And how about you, Fifi?
Well, in my humble opinion, I would like to add that instead of recycling paper, there is another effective alternative way to fight and prevent climate change that support recycling paper, such as we can also plant a native trees. As we know, trees absorb carbon dioxide from the air, right? And use it as their energy sources, producing oxygen for us to breathe. Did you know that a tree in the temperate zone found between the tropic and the polar cycles can remove and store 700 to 7,000 pounds of carbon over its lifetime? Well, I think it's one of the effective way to prevent or fight climate change as recycling. And
Interesting fact.
yes.
How about you? You want to add some point?
Yeah, here my point that like both of you said, this recycling paper can reduce greenhouse gas emission that can contribute to climate change by avoiding methane emission and reducing energy required for a number of paper products. Besides that, we can save considerable landfill space and also reduce energy and water consumption.
So, about you, Ate?
I don't have any point to end up.
How
Anyone?
about you?
I also don't have any point, but I think we can conclude that this statement is really true, that if we recycling a paper, so we can fight
Fight
to
Climate change.
So we all agree about this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you.